Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of The Breakdown presented by 9NINE2. This is it. This is the last one of the Formula Drift 2024 season. Really pumped for this opportunity to come on here and do the breakdown, give some clarity on a lot of the battles. Not too long ago, last season we were just doing these for fun over on the 9NINE2 channel, and really great opportunity to have Russo, have all the equipment, the opportunity to do them. And Ryan Sage from Formula Drift saw and said, bring it on over now that you're a judge, give some clarity. And I think we really did a good job of it. And we're going to go into next year to try to refine a little bit more and give a little bit more clarity on some battles and how we deliver everything. So really pumped on that. So going into this episode, we have 3 battles that we're going to be going over. We're going to be watching the Ryan Tuerck and Bakchis battle. Then we're going to be watching the Aasbo and Dylan Hughes battle, and we're going to be starting it off with James Deane against Jeff Jones. And that's what we're going to be starting off with here. Now, if you remember, there was a one more time, all right, and we're going to be viewing the first battle where they went one more time, not the second battle, all right? We're going to give a little clarity on why the judges went the way they went. I went, and Robbie went with one more time, and Brian Eggert went with James Deane. James Deane in the lead. Jeff Jones giving chase. A really good job here. You see James Deane gets up on the wall. You see Jeff Jones takes a little bit of time, taking a lower line. Then he gets into position. Good transition in. See Jeff Jones dives in. I really like how Jeff did that. You see how he kind of took a little angle out, got close, and then got right back to it. Good proximity. I really like that. That was good. Really good lead line by James Deane. And Jeff Jones really stayed in there.
James Deane, you can throw it in, but James just.
Yeah, you can see James really giving a good line. See Jeff doing a really good job staying in there. Times the transition really good. James goes in. You can see right there. You can see how that was really good. You could see how Jeff right over here took a little bit of angle out, dove in, got right back to angle. That's what we would want to see when people go into the Y formation really quick. You can see Jeff Jones kind of shallowed up, got into position, got right back to angle. That was awesome. That was really good. James Deane gets back on throttle, creates a little bit of separation there. But Jeff Jones does a really good job of staying with that line here. You can see a little bit of a lower line, then he gets into position. Good transition here. Good transition there. Transition takes a little bit of a shallower line. That's where he cheats a little bit, gets right back into the pocket. James Deane gets on throttle, really creates a separation. But that was a really good lead, and that was a really good chase by Jeff Jones there. All right, we're going to swap them around. All right. Jeff Jones initiates James Deane right there. You can see James takes a little bit of a lower line, a little bit of proximity. I think kind of does the same thing that Jeff did, if not a little bit. Not what we're looking for. Good transition in. There's good separation. See, James really compensates a lot. Jeff puts a lot of distance in there going into outside zone 2. You can see James is definitely trying to shallow up a little bit, try to get that proximity. Shallows up a lot going over the last outside zone. All right, you see Jeff Jones gets up to the wall, does a really good job getting out there. You see Deane's a little bit low here, gets on throttle, gets a lot closer at that point, so it really achieves the proximity, sacrificing a little bit of angle there, but it's all good. Jeff comes in, good transition, and you can see a little bit of separation here, and then it amplifies a lot more after the transition. This is where you see James definitely compensate a little bit, cheat a little bit, taking out some angle, going, finally gets into the pocket. So now we do have established good proximity. Really good job there. Takes a little bit of angle out. Jeff is doing a good job of pouring on the angle in the lead. He's doing everything he needs to do to legally phase him.
James never looks settled.
Yeah, James just, as what Jake was saying there, doesn't look like he was really settled in the chase. Looks like he was maybe playing catch-up after the inside clip. So you can see here, good proximity going in here. Then after this inside clip, you can start seeing, this is where James starts looking for ways to oh man, I got to get closer. Maybe I miscalculated a little bit here. Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's really where he wants to be with that. So you can see here, both are having a little bit of a separation. See, Jeff is a little bit lower here, but I feel like they're both able to get to the proximity where they need to be. and they're settled in. So this is good. Good proximity there by James, but he is taking a little bit more of the inside line there to achieve that proximity. Good transition in both, and then you can see right. This is where I said there was the biggest difference. All right, for me, you can see that there's a big distance that's established here. The proximity just a lot more where we want it to be with Jeff over here. He's compensate a little bit, take more of an inside line. You can see James is definitely taking some angle out, so now he can close proximity, and he's cheating a little bit of the line. I feel like Jeff is able to get to the pocket a lot faster and stay in that pocket with angle a lot faster than James was. You see, James does get into the pocket there. And again, I think that James is an amazing driver. I just think maybe like he was just after the inner clip, he kind of just like wasn't on rhythm correctly. And then he was playing catch up at that point because Jeff is zooming. So you can see here, matching line, matching angle, the proximity could be a little bit more, you know. Here, he's getting in and it starts to waver a little bit. Doesn't seem like he's settled. When we take all of that into consideration, you know, the judges were looking through it. We're looking at the side by side. We're looking at everything that's there. And we're looking at it individually because, I mean, that's what we're supposed to be doing up there. You know, we're not conversating over, you know, how are you looking at it or anything like that. But you can see here, Robbie goes one more time. Brian Eggert goes giving the win to James Deane, and I end up going one more time as well too. And like I said, the reason I believe me and Robbie went through that is because we looked at everything and we feel like there was enough. I hate to say that there was enough errors on each side, but I feel like that's the easiest way for me to explain. There was enough errors on each side in order to make it happen. I feel like if James would have timed inside the inside clip better going into outside zone 2, this would be a completely different ballgame. But I think maybe he was just a little bit off, mistimed it, miscalculated that transition, putting him way too in on the inside, not really at the angle that he wanted. He compensated a lot to get into the proximity, but at least for me, I feel like Jeff did a way better job of taking the cheating a little bit when he needed to, and then getting right into the pocket, sacrificing where he needed to. At the end of the day, I feel like James just sacrificed a lot more than Jeff did. But James had a really good lead. He had an amazing lead that I think was better than Jeff. So then when you kind of take everything, for me, everything canceled out. I was like, you know what? I want to see this happen one more time. I believe Robbie was pretty much on the same boat. We were kind of conversating after it all happened. And that's pretty much what we came up with. For Brian Eggert, he feels that James just did a better job. He liked the way he got into proximity. He didn't really have an issue with how he went about his run or anything like that. And he felt like he had a way better lead, and that was sufficient enough for James in order to get the win there. So I totally see where Brian comes for that. And, pumped that Robbie agreed with me as well too. And they ended up going one more time. In the one more time battle, Jeff unfortunately ended up spinning, and James ended up getting the win and then moving on. All right. The next battle that we have is Frederick Aasbo and Dylan Hughes. All right, we have Frederick taking off in the lead. Dylan getting right in there. Aasbo doing a really good job taking that high line. Here comes the transition. Good transition coming through. And we have some contact here. Now, we're going to break down this and kind of explain why we end up going the decision that we did and why we place fault the way we did. We're going to look for the replay here, and then we're going to give you some insight. So we see Aasbo working his way up, gets high up line. Dylan sacrificing a little bit of angle here, staying into the pocket. Then he gets into the pocket again. Does a pretty good job. Aasbo takes really good line, pours the angle on, excels through the inner clip. That's a beautiful job. At angle, you can see that there is a lot of separation here. That I think we really need to pay attention to the gap that's here. Now, Dylan being the amazing driver that he is, I'm sure he saw is like, man, I'm a little offbeat. This dude is starting to establish some space, and I'm going to have to compensate and do something here. Now, transition comes through. We do see the red lights come up there. Now, there is a decel there, all right? The decel is right around this area here. They're allowed to decel there, and it has to be after the transition, not before the transition. So here, transition comes through, right? He's able to decel. That happens. We can see the decel happens. You see Dylan is accelerating at this point. All right. Now you can see here, this is neutral. All right. So he's just maintaining speed. This is outside zone 2, right? So we're gonna want him to get on throttle right when he gets to here. Dylan he's doing his job. Look, he's decelling here, trying to calculate a little bit. Maybe he had a little bit too much momentum left in the vehicle. So then we're going to see the surge here. Right now, Aasbo's back on throttle. Dylan's back on throttle. Why is he surging in so much? I can only assume it's because the momentum based off of the transition that the transition generated momentum. After the transition, it threw him into this corner. He's trying to calculate to get into the pocket. Had a little bit too much sauce going in, and then you can see Aasbo is on throttle now. This is outside zone 2. He's on throttle, and bam, we have a hit. So there is a decel zone there. Both of the drivers used it correctly. Aasbo used it correctly. Transition happened afterwards. They get into outside zone 2. Aasbo gets back on throttle. Dylan has a little bit too much sauce, comes in, gets into the side of Aasbo, and we have this contact here. Now, when we reviewed this, we all checked it out, all three of us, and we all came to the conclusion that Dylan just had way too aggressive going into there. So because of that aggressiveness, too much momentum was left back in the vehicle. Slides right into him, miscalculated, and he wasn't able to get into the pocket and slow down enough so he's able to get right there with him and light off and keep on going, which I can imagine that's what he's trying to do there. But a little bit too aggressive, got into him, and that's what ends up happening. So they go into the pits, check everything out. Dylan is at fault for it, so then we're going to go into the second half of the battle here. Dylan is in the lead. Aasbo is going to be in the chase. All right, so Aasbo does have the advantage here. Dylan, a little bit low, gets up. Aasbo getting right where he needs to be. Trying to play it smart. Dylan, good momentum, good line, comes in. Good job, gets right into outside zone 2 correctly. Aasbo doesn't have to be too aggressive. He just has to be in the ballpark here. Good, clean run. So again, we're looking at it. Aasbo does have the advantage here. He has to attack him. He needs to be there, but he doesn't have to be aggressive. You can see here, Dylan, a little bit low, but he starts working his way up. There he goes, gets right where he needs to be. Aasbo right where he needs to be as well, too. Playing it smart, giving a little bit of space here. Good transition by Dylan. A little bit more angle there. Aasbo comes in, calculates, gets into the pocket, still plays it safe a little bit, takes a little bit of angle out, a little bit lower line, comes right back in where he needs to be. But ultimately, with Dylan being at the deficit or being having the disadvantage because of the hit, Robbie goes with Aasbo. Brian goes with Aasbo, and I go with Aasbo as well too. And like I said, we can see here just we're looking at the replays. I wanted to make sure I explained it pretty clear how we saw it there. He goes in transition. He's allowed to do the decel. All right. Decels efficiently, gets into outside zone 2. Aasbo lights off. Dylan has a little bit too much sauce, a little too aggressive, and hits him. So that's where that's where Dylan ended up having his miscalculation. Ultimately, that tipped the scales over to Aasbo, and as you can see, all three of us made it really simple for us to watch the next half of the battle and see that Aasbo is going to be the victor of that battle. So that's how that one ended. Good battle there. All right, the next battle that we have up is Bakchis and Ryan Tuerck. Now this one was a heartbreaker for me. I always like to see clean battles, but this was a wild one. All right, so we have Odie in the lead. We have Tuerck chasing. Tuerck does a good job, gets into the pocket, good proximity, comes off a little bit from the bag. It looks like he gets back up. Odie's doing a really good job in the lead here. Good inner clip, good momentum going in. Tuerck, look at Tuerck pouring on the angle. Looks like it gets a little bit deeper. Shallows up just a little bit. Comes out of outside zone 2. Inner clip. You can see the front wheel contact. Dude. Odie, man. I'm pretty sure I thought the judges were the punching bag, dude, but I'm pretty sure it's Odie, dude. just not all that gnarliness happening. Let's see if we can find the replay here. Yeah. I'd love to show you that, but it's a bunch of cars that are getting wrecked.
The more separation.
All right, let's see. We see the battle. There we go. Here's the replay. All right, you can see Odie does a good job getting up top. Tuerck does a really good job getting proximity, matching angle, matching the line. Beautiful. Comes down just a little bit of wavering, comes down a little bit. Adjust, gets back into it. Odie doing a really good job. Here comes the transition. Good transition in. Tuerck does a really good, this is a really good dive. I like how he dives in, pours on the angle to slow down, and then gets on throttle, comes out a little bit. Odie does shallow just a smidge. See, they're both kind of I feel like in these situations, I think everyone comes into some of these zones with a certain rhythm, and then when someone has a different rhythm, they kind of just try to find their groove again. And I think that's what we're seeing here in outside zone 2. At least that's what I was thinking when I was watching this. Now, here comes the inner clip. We can see he's on throttle there. This is neutral, so he's just maintaining speed. There's no decel there or anything like that. Gets on throttle again. You can see here a little bit of angle comes out of Tuerck here, surges forward, and right there we have that contact. Throws the front end of Odie to the right, front right, and then hits him right here, right, like perfectly right at the B pillar, and that just kind of rocks him right into the wall.
So it looks like, Ryan Tuerck catches the front
Ryan Tuerck catches the front end, and then whips him around, then he catches the back end. But that dive right there, that dive was... Let's look at the dive again, though, because the dive was dope. This is the last one of the year. Let's look at this dive. Comes in. This is dope. Comes in right into the pocket, dude. You see Odie just breaks a little bit, right? But like this, Tuerck is just like, I'm gonna get on throttle. Boom, gets on throttle, gets deep into this pocket. All right. Just letting you know, I think that was cool because that's hard to do, and that takes a lot of freaking cojones. Comes in, the inner clip, maintaining speed. And you can see a little bit of angle comes out of Tuerck here, surges forward just ever so much, and then just the unfortunate front wheel contact. Gets the front end. You can see the front end is going to come over to this direction, and then hits him right here. And that second hit, is what's going to put him into the wall. And just like James clearly having a fun time. That just like throws him right into the wall, and just unfortunate there. Now, unfortunately, with the time that was allotted to them, they weren't able to get Odie's car back together. Odie does win this battle. We did put the blame of the contact on Tuerck just because of over aggressiveness, getting the front end, and ultimately, just pooning him into the wall. You can see he gets the front end, gets the back end, slams him in. We all made the decision there. All three of the judges were in agreement. Again, it wasn't something that we all came to an agreement on together, but when we reviewed everything, we all came up with the same answer, that Tuerck just came in just a little bit too aggressive. And given the replays that we had, we're just like, well, yeah, Tuerck is at fault for this. So very unfortunate. Tuerck is an amazing driver. Odie had an amazing season. Odie's an amazing driver as well too. But fortunately, this incident, we weren't able to go on and see anything else. So that happens in racing sometimes. It was a really tough pill for I'm sure both drivers to swallow. But that's why we ended up going in that direction there. We saw the situation unfold. We saw the contact. We looked at everything. What happened? Was there anything that we would consider foul play or anything like that, or put something on Odie? And the judges came to their judgment call that the blame is going to be on Tuerck on this one. So now those are the three battles that we have here. It was at the last episode of the year. So I had an absolute blast. This was really good. Taking a show concept that we had over in a different channel, bringing it over to FD to kind of explain some of these battles for you. And I'm really looking forward to going to next season, kind of refine a little bit more, and I kind of see what people like, and I'm going to try to do my best to kind of adhere to that and give you guys what you guys want to see, and maybe we'll do more battles, or I don't know. But I'm really excited for it. I really appreciate, being able to have all of your attention, the opportunity from FD for allowing me and my buddy Russo from 9NINE2 to come in here and do this. It was just a really great time. Had a blast being a judge. I'm going to have a blast next year as well, too, because I don't have no plans on going anywhere. So looking forward to the next one. And I will see you next time in 2025 for the breakdown. See you later.